Hi, fourth grade. Here's your second video lesson for today. For this one, we're going to focus on your novel that you're reading, Fudge-a-Mania. Remember that last week you guys read chapter 10, okay? So today you guys are going to read chapter 11. But before we get into chapter 11, I want to review chapter 10 with you, okay? Remember that Sheila's friend got the chicken pox. Tootsie flings a piece of oatmeal at Sheila. It hits her in the face. Mrs. Hatcher almost faints because she does not have any more room in the house for another house guest. Remember, this whole vacation house in Maine was only supposed to be the Hatchers and the Tubmans, but there just keeps more and more guests keep coming. That's about it. So moving on. Okay. We are on chapter 11. Give me a second. Okay, so hopefully by now you guys have your chapter packet questions out. I'm going to go over these questions before we start reading. Okay. So chapter 11, first question. Why are Jimmy and Sheila suddenly buddies? It's interesting. They are like sworn enemies up until this point, I guess. Number 2. Okay. What does ISAF stand for? Interesting. And then number 3, why does the chapter end with Peter saying it was easier than I thought? And then your word circle is adventure. Okay. So again, those are questions that we're looking for today. If you don't have your book with you for whatever reason, I know some of you weren't able to get it out of the classroom. I will post pictures of the pages for you. Okay. Let me just get to chapter 11 real quick. Okay, so chapter 11, okay, starts on page 94. You can read along with me as I read out loud. I will not read the whole chapter in this video. I'll probably stop halfway through and you can finish it on your own. And if I flip through the pages, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-ish pages. So I might actually stop at the 4th page of the chapter, but we'll see. Okay. All right. Chapter 11, the ISAF Club. Page 94. Fudge was counting his Cheerios when Jimmy and I came down to breakfast the next day. As soon as we sat down, Sheila waltzed in, wearing her fuzzy pink robe and her bunny slippers as usual. Jimmy took one look and doubled over. Sheila poured herself a glass of juice, then made herself comfortable at the table between Buzzy Sr. and Fudge. "Good morning, sweetheart," Buzzy Sr. said, kissing her cheek. "Good morning, honey," Fudge said, kissing her other cheek. "What is this? Camp Kissy Face?" Jimmy asked. "You wish," Sheila said. "Oh yeah, I really wish," Jimmy said. "Sheila's my babysitter," Fudge told Jimmy. "But maybe she's going to be my wife too." "Wife?" Jimmy said to Sheila. "Maybe," Sheila said. "Nothing's definite yet. It all depends on Mitzi," Fudge said. "Mitzi?" Jimmy asked. "She's my friend. She has monster spray. She's trying to get some for me. Then I won't have to get married." Jimmy gave me a look, then sliced a banana into his cornflakes. "Buzzy Sr. and Grandma are best friends," Fudge continued, "but they don't sleep in the same room." "Why don't you save the morning report till after breakfast?" I said. "I can't." He nibbled on his Cheerios, eating one little circle at a time. "I might forget." "Pass the milk, please," Jimmy said. Grandma passed it to him, and Jimmy poured some over his cereal. "Jake will roll over if you give her cheddar cheese," Fudge said, still going strong. "But if you give Tootsie cheese, she spits it out." "Okay," I said, "that's it." Jimmy doesn't want to hear any more. Jimmy wants to have his breakfast in peace. Okay, I'm on page 96 now. "Wait," Fudge shouted. "I'm not finished." "Oh, yes, you are," I told him. But did he listen? Does he ever listen? Libby works at Eichel's ice cream parlor, he babbled. She puts extra sprinkles on my cone. And he stretched out the word, making sure he had everyone's attention. Pete got dizzy from Izzy at the library. That did it. I reached across the table and grabbed him by his sweatshirt. One more word, and I'm going to let you have it. Okay. He went back to counting his Cheerios. What was that about Peter getting dizzy? Sheila asked. That was a joke, I told her. He felt like he was floating, Fudge said. I shoved back my chair and raced around the table, ready to destroy him. Grandma, Fudge cried. Help! Grandma shouted. Enough! Eee! Tootsie shrieked. Ee! 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 This time, Grandma stood up and banged a wooden spoon against a pot. We all quieted down and ate our breakfast. Not that I was hungry anymore. When we finished, we helped Grandma clean up. Then Sheila danced across the living room in her bunny slippers, singing, He got dizzy from Izzy at the library. Okay, so I'm going to pause right now, boys and girls. Remember, I don't think it was chapter 10, but I think it was the previous chapter in chapter 9, that Peter and Fudge met this new girl, Izzy, and Peter was very infatuated with her and was daydreaming about her, and Fudge is now using it to kind of make fun of and poke fun at his brother in front of, like, you know, Sheila and Jimmy and like the whole family. So it's probably why Peter's a little upset with Fudge right now. So moving on, top of 97, where Mr. Fargo starts. Mr. Fargo, who'd been sleeping on the couch, suddenly sat up. He looked confused. Where am I? He asked. You're in Maine, Dad, Jimmy told him. Remember, you're sleeping on the sofa in the Hatchers' living room. You mean the Tummins' living room? Sheila said, as she danced out the door onto the porch. Jimmy followed her, and I followed Jimmy. No way I was going to leave the two of them alone. It was a warm, sunny morning for a change. Everything smelled fresh and clean from the last night's rain. Too bad Sheila had to spoil it with her musical act. She danced from one end of the porch to the other, singing, Dizzy from Izzy, la-di-da, maybe it's love, la-di-da. It has nothing to do with love, I told Jimmy. Fudge made that whole thing up. Dizzy, Sheila said. Floating. Sounds like love to me. Yeah, Peter, Jimmy said. Sounds like love to me, too. I've seen Izzy, Sheila told Jimmy. She's got curly hair and a fat behind. It's not fat, I shouted. Oh, boy. So now Sheila's getting in on this Dizzy from Izzy, and Jimmy is getting in on this. So you can imagine how Peter's feeling right now. Probably a little embarrassed. Definitely a little ganged up on right now. Can't blame him, to be honest with you. Okay, top of 98. If it's not fat, how come it wiggles when she walks? Sheila asked, parading across the porch. She tried to imitate Isobel, but wound up waddling like a duck instead. So when do I get to meet this Izzy? Jimmy asked. I have no idea, Sheila said. We can ride our bikes to the library this morning. I thought you had a job, I said. I thought you had to babysit Fudge. Haven't you heard? Sheila asked. Fudge is invited to Mitzi's. All I have to do is walk him over and I'm free. I hope your mother's not paying for that. Business between your mother and me is private, Sheila said. Then Jimmy said, I didn't bring a bike. No problem, Jimmy told him. We have extras in the garage. Oh, poor Peter. Jimmy's here to visit me, I told Sheila, and I'll decide what we're going to do. I went back inside, slamming the door as I did. First, he tells me he can't stand Sheila. Next thing you know, it's like they're best friends. Who needs this? I went up to my room, kicked yesterday's clothes out of the way, and sat on the edge of my bed. Okay, this is the last page I'm going to read to you, 4th grade. In a minute, Jimmy joined me. No. No, you're going to wait. No. He sat on the edge of his bed. Sorry, he said. I don't know what got into me. There's plenty of reasons for me feeling dizzy besides love. I didn't say anything. You're not mad, are you? Jimmy asked. Why should I be mad? Then you don't mind if we ride into town? Why would I mind? I was just trying to help you out since I know you can't stand being around the cootie queen. Yeah, but I feel kind of sorry for her since her friend got chicken pox and all. She told you about Mouse? Yeah, and I know how disappointed you'd be if I'd come down with chicken pox. You had them in 2nd grade. I know, but just suppose. Dad adjusted the seat on one of the extra bikes for Jimmy. Then he handed me a bike helmet. Safety first, he said. The road to town is very busy. We'll be careful, Sheila promised. I took a course in bicycle safety, so I know all the rules. What don't you know? I muttered. I don't know how to turn perfect cartwheels. I'm going to read this last line. Sheila said, but with Merle's help, I'm improving. All right, 4th grade. So that leaves me at the top of page 100. That leaves you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a couple lines left to read of these pages. Again, I will post the pages of this chapter for you, for some of you that don't have the book. I will also post the chapter questions for you as well, for those of you that don't have it. Again, I'm sorry if I'm being a little redundant. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe read it to your parents if that's helpful. And I'll see you next time. All right, bye.